I sat down on the floor, closed my eyes, and made a promise that I would meditate for 8 hours a day, every single day, for the next 30 days. On paper, it sounded like peace, like enlightenment waiting to happen. In reality, by the 3rd hour of the first day, my back ached, every itch screamed for attention, and my mind went absolutely insane. I thought I'd relax into bliss. Instead, I was locked in a tiny room with the loudest version of my own brain. And my brain did not like me. The first week was sheer chaos. Minutes crawled. I kept sneaking peeks at the clock, convinced whole hours had passed when it was only 10 minutes. My head felt like an internet browser with 100 tabs open, each one blasting noise. Without my phone, without music, without conversation, the thoughts attacked even harder. Regrets from 10 years ago, arguments I thought I'd forgotten, silly worries, random songs on repeat. This was not serenity. This was mental boot camp. But something important happened around day 5. I began to notice that almost all of my thoughts weren't new. They were the same loops repeating over and over. Like my brain was stuck on auto replay, and seeing that loop gave me power. When you realize your thoughts are on copy-paste, they can't control you quite the same way. By day 10, I started to notice a difference outside of meditation too. Normally, when I spill coffee, I curse. When someone annoys me, I snap. But now, there was a pause, a breath, a tiny delay where I could choose instead of just react. That pause felt revolutionary. Science says this is what happens when the prefrontal cortex, your brain's control center, starts overriding the amygdala, your alarm system. In simple words, I wasn't on a hair trigger anymore. My reactions slowed. My choices felt deliberate. As the days stretched on, strange things began to happen. With no new stimulation, my brain started creating its own fireworks. Behind my eyelids, I saw bursts of colored light. My body sometimes dissolved into tingling waves, as if I had become pure energy. Once I could swear I heard soft music, though the room was silent. These weren't supernatural, these were just neural circuits firing differently. My mind recalibrating after years of overstimulation. But meditation isn't just peace. Around the 2nd week, something heavier hit me. Memories I had buried years ago resurfaced, almost violently. Shame from school days. Fights I thought I'd moved past. Failures I had shoved into the basement. The silence gave them space to climb back up, and facing them was painful. But here's what I learned. When you stop running, the pain loses power. Watching those emotions come and go without drowning in them taught me that feelings are waves. You can ride them instead of being crushed by them. Those moments hurt, but they healed. Somewhere around day 20, my body shifted too. I thought sitting would make me sluggish, but instead, I felt awake in a way I hadn't in years. My sleep became deeper, yet I needed less of it. Food tasted sharper, water felt like nectar. The breeze on my face was thrilling. Anxiety melted, replaced by a calm energy that wasn't jittery but steady, balanced. My nervous system had switched modes from fight or flight into rest and restore, and it was like I had unlocked an internal power bank I never knew existed. By day 25, I experienced something that shocked me even more. Focus. For years I'd been scatterbrained, always with an itch to check my phone, scroll, or escape. But I picked up a book one night, and suddenly 2 hours disappeared without distraction. I worked on projects fluidly, fully absorbed. Meditation had trained my attention like a muscle. What once felt impossible deep concentration now felt like home. On the 30th day, after my final 8-hour stretch, I realized I hadn't achieved perfection. I wasn't floating off the ground, I wasn't immune to stress, and I wasn't some holy monk. What I had achieved was even more valuable. I had finally seen how my mind really works, the endless chatter, the old wounds, the cycles of worry. Most of us are prisoners to that noise without even knowing it. 30 days locked in silence showed me the truth. I am not my thoughts. My thoughts are weather passing through my inner sky. And once you see that, storms lose their power. You remember you are the sky, not the storm. The changes stayed with me. My anxiety dropped dramatically. Work became easier because distractions had lost their hook. Conversations became richer because I was fully listening instead of half thinking about my phone. And joy returned to the smallest things: a sip of water, the warmth of sunlight, the feeling of simply breathing. I found entertainment not on a screen, but in life itself. Should you meditate 8 hours a day? Honestly, no. It's too intense for most people. You don't need that. Even 10 minutes a day creates space in your mind. Even 20 minutes can calm your nervous system. Even an hour once a week can change how you see yourself. I went into the extreme experiment to see what would happen, and what I found is that stillness doesn't give you something new. It peels away the noise, the illusions, the compulsions, and underneath all of that was freedom. I meditated for 8 hours a day for 30 straight days. It didn't make me superhuman, but it freed me from the prison of my racing mind. And once you taste that freedom even for a glimpse you, realize it's the most valuable thing you could ever find. So maybe you'll never sit with eyes closed for 8 hours. That's fine, but what if today you tried just 5 minutes? 5 minutes of breathing, 5 minutes of stillness, 5 minutes to remember that everything you've been chasing is already here. Do it, and you might just discover the same thing I did, that peace somewhere out there. It's been waiting quietly inside you all along.